Well, I've been working with seafood for a long time, since I was a student. I've been at Sydney Fish Market, I think, about 18 years. The Seafood School is a purpose-built school to teach people all about how to cook seafood. But the good thing about it, you get to do it yourself, and then you get to sit down and enjoy what you've cooked with a glass of wine. Great experience. The fish market is now deregulated, so it's not owned by the government anymore. Half of it is owned by the tenants, the shopkeepers, and half of it by the Catchers Trust, which is the fishermen. And we're lucky enough to have third and fourth generation fishermen families, as you can see from the boats here, fishing from Sydney Fish Market and going out to sea a couple of days at a time. This is Sydney Fish Market auction, where it all happens. So we have the buyers, which are restaurants, wholesalers and fish shops. And we have a Dutch auction system, starts at a high price, drops to a low. 2 clocks go simultaneously, so the poor old buyers at 5:30 in the morning every weekday have to be awake enough to make sure they're bidding on the right clock. It's a very efficient system, and that means that the buyers can get their fish back to the fish shops by morning tea time. And the good thing about Sydney Fish Market auction is we have one of the biggest varieties of seafood, second in the world after the Tokyo markets. So if you have a look around on any auction morning, you'll see over 100 different species of seafood. You name it, it's probably here. Well, snapper's a very versatile fish, and I think most people know of snapper. It's very good for people who perhaps don't like a strong fishy flavour. It is our most popular fish for sale on the auction floor, both by volume and by price. A little tip. Get a piece of string, measure your pan or your barbecue or your oven to make sure the fish is not bigger than fits, because there's nothing worse than having to chop its head off to make it fit in the pan. I think that one might be about the size I need. Okay, thank you. Great, thank you. So remember, keep your seafood chilled. An hour out of the fridge can take a day's shelf life off it. So what we're going to do is keep it really simple and just do it with lemons and fresh herbs. But something a little bit different, which is actually a great little cooking tip, is to wrap your fish up in banana leaves. And banana leaves act as a little buffer between your heat source and the fish. So we're going to pop it into the fry pan. It's very important when you're cooking fish to have a pan that you can set the temperature and it will hold its heat at that temperature and have no hot and cold spots. So you want a nice even heat so your fish cooks through evenly. You can use your non-stick baking paper, and you might need to just have a look at the temperature, just a fraction lower if you're using the paper. So we make a couple of slashes through the thickest part of the flesh, and that just allows the heat and a little bit of extra flavour to get into the flesh. We'll do it on the other side as well. What you can do is put a little bit of your flavouring actually into those cuts, so it actually gets right in down where the flesh is. Squeeze a bit of lemon juice over the top if you wanted to. You could put in some ginger, you could use garlic, you could use chilies, you could use lemongrass, so it's up to you what flavours you would like. You can add a little bit of salt and pepper if you wanted to. I'm going to put some in the stomach cavity, and I'm going to put some on the other side as well. And a nice big bunch of herbs. So in this case I've got some coriander, and I might even do a couple of kaffir lime leaves. So I just take the spine out, and I like a little bit of ginger. Because I'm only going to just roll it up, the leaves shouldn't crack. And I might just put a little bit of oil on the tail. Now that's preheated on 8, so it's about a moderate. You might need to turn it up or down a little bit depending on the size of your fish. The thicker it is, the lower the temperature. We're going to put it in there. Because I've put the banana leaves around twice, it's probably going to take about 5 or 6 minutes to cook each side. Because it's got a double wrapping of banana leaves, it's going to take a bit longer for the heat to get through it. Okay, we'll leave that there. What we might do is do a couple of extra garnishes. Not everybody likes chilli, so we might just do a little bit. The benefits of using a red chilli is 2 things: that if you're cooking with red chillies, they'll hold their colour. But the other really important thing is the chilli's ripened up, so it's a little bit sweeter. We'll just do some really thin little slithers of the kaffir lime. Open up the banana leaves, and then we can get the tip of the knife, sharp knife, or you can use end of a spoon. The fisherman that told me this, he said rather than muck up the look of it, just lift up the stomach cavity and have a look to the back of the stomach cavity, because that's the middle of the fish, and if that's white, your fish is cooked. To quickly sear my lemons, they can sear there, and I'll just add a little bit of extra chilli. a lot of chilli, some extra green. Just like a good steak, we can turn the heat off, let it sit in the pan. We're going to take it to the table like that, so be perfect.